We got other things to take care of.
I've just finished playing the last DLC for Deus Ex Mankind Divided called A Criminal Past. This one covers Adam Jensen's first mission for the anti-terrorist intelligence group called Task Force 29. He's embedded himself as a convicted criminal within a high-security, augmented people-only prison, and as if that doesn't sound dangerous enough, his task is to actually retrieve very important information regarding terrorist attacks from another operator from the same organization who's gone dark for a while now. That's pretty much the premise of the game, and of course at the beginning of the DLC you're going to see your power stripped away. This makes sense because if they had to take your save files you might be too overpowered for this one. Well, that's good and all, and I've gotten used to it by now. Actually, at this point I'm very thankful because the last time I played Mankind Divided was quite a while ago, and I felt rusty, and this gave me a chance to start off easy, because if the game would allow me to play with all my augmentations from the start, they would have to start the game pretty aggressively as well and hard, just to make sure that the more advanced players who will now most likely have finished the main game, and actually the game does advise you to first finish the main story before doing the DLCs, so these more advanced players will actually be bored otherwise if they were overpowered and could do everything easily without being disturbed. I actually advise you to play this DLC without doing the augmentations for invisibility, simply because it's going to get quite a lot easier. Again, the DLC provides you with a lot of energy, so due to that, due to the energy cells, this is gonna make it very easy, and I opted for that one. Now, the interesting thing about this DLC, just as every other Deus Ex DLC, is that there are choices to be made, but I would say that this is the first DLC where I can actually say openly that it is worth replaying 2 more times at least, especially if you want to go the route without activating your augmentations at all, because the game of course will offer you 2 chances, well actually more than 2 chances, but 2 main opportunities to reactivate your augmentations. And these 2 opportunities will be right at the beginning of the game, where you get a side mission to talk to somebody who can give you a drug to fix you up. But you already notice that there's something wrong with that. Just the story and the plot as it unfolds gives you a reason to suspect that you probably shouldn't be doing that for some reason. So at first I actually didn't go with that decision, and later on went with it after I saw that who cares. But this is the one point where you're offered a drug and you can take the drug, and this will give you access to your augmentations again. Then if you decide, there's a side mission to take a special energy cell, and that energy cell needs to be delivered to someone, and you get to actually make the choice whether or not you want to give it to that person or you want to use it for yourself, which will then again activate your augmentations. But this is one of those choices in the game that actually have an extreme effect on how the gameplay will continue, because you are in this super prison and the people aren't happy, they want to riot, which is pretty standard in every prison when I think about it. Nobody who's convicted and locked up like an animal will want to will sing the happy song, but that's besides the point. Of course, the game tries to show us that the wardens are extremely harsh, that there's this asshole guy who's the boss in there, and he's very suspicious and probably something's going on that isn't right. And one prisoner who was beloved by the other prisoners got shot, and everyone knows that this was kind of arranged and stuff like that. So you get a lot of mixed information, and of course your morality bells are dingling again, ringing around, telling you that there will be some choices to be made in this DLC, and that's the good thing about Deus Ex. Really, one of the greater things is that you get these choices, and that's what's gonna give you the right to replay the DLC without feeling guilty. Now, in my playthrough, I actually chose to activate my augmentations using the energy cell from the side quest, but then I also took the pill after that, so you actually get it offered several times, and that's pretty cool, because you essentially you have following choices. You can take the pill at the beginning of the game, deliver the cell. If you deliver the cell to the guy who you're supposed to deliver it to, he's essentially gonna help the guys riot more efficiently, free more guys, and then there's gonna be a lot less police force to deal with and a lot more of these guys, but you're gonna be underpowered. If you do not deliver the cell to him, there's gonna be a lot more police force to deal with, and a lot less of the inmates will be available, and they'll be underpowered. And there's the third option, where you do whatever the hell you want out of these 2, yet you do not take the pill that is offered to you. So in the third option, you either help the prisoners or you don't help them, so there are a lot more policemen or not. But at the same time, you don't have your augmentation, so that would be something like kind of a hard mode, although you can still choose a different difficulty. It just unlocks certain things that are very interesting, because whether or not you do take these pills will have an effect on gameplay. Obviously, you can't hack stuff, you can't open certain doors, you're gonna have to deal with policemen using conventional weapons and then steal their key cards in order to access places. Generally, you won't be upgrading that much in terms of hacking and stuff like that, because most of the terminals won't exceed level 3. I actually think there wasn't a single one that did. And essentially that is the replayability of the game. Obviously, you meet some shady characters in there and it gets pretty interesting. I'm a huge fan of Deus Ex, Mankind Divided, but also Human Revolution. I actually replayed Human Revolution quite recently again because I find it to be a fun game. And Mankind Divided is such a huge jump for me. Basically, Mankind Divided and towards Human Revolution was like The Witcher 3 towards The Witcher 2. Maybe not quite as extreme, but it was a huge jump in quality and I really enjoyed it. So all these DLCs are quite welcome for me. I'm very happy with them and I think they're very interesting. But of course, there are some people who perhaps didn't enjoy Mankind Divided as much, or they didn't like the previous DLCs. Now, if you are from the person in the group A that didn't enjoy Mankind Divided as much, then I would say, well, the DLC is not going to be for you because it's essentially more of the same. But if you are someone who just liked the main game but did not like the previous DLCs, and I gotta be honest with you, neither did I. I thought them to be relatively boring. But this one is different. This one I found to be more interesting, more plot twists inside, and just more morality, and just generally it was more interesting as well. Bigger challenge in terms of combat, and the fact that there's replayability really adds to the DLC. Also, the length of this DLC is just much larger for me than the other ones. I actually spend about 6.5 hours, but you gotta consider that I always try to be as thorough as I can. I'll try to read all the entries, I'll try to walk around, find all the hidden secrets. And one of the reasons why I actually went and activated my augmentations is because I had found so many Praxis kits at some point that it broke my heart not to use them, so I thought, oh, what the hell with it, I'll try another time. There's apparently an achievement if you do it without activating your augmentation, so I will probably be replaying this without the augments. But as it stands right now, I actually did enjoy the DLC quite a bit. I thought it was a lot of fun. And you have to consider that you will not find, like I said, you will not find anything exceptional here. Pretty much nothing in the DLC will be new to you if you've played the main game, and you obviously will have, I assume. So again, it's cool, it's interesting, and the nice thing is that and that was not a reason why I actually went with the augmentations, simply because you have several times where you have to use your social aug, and you don't want to miss out on that. You know that the path without augmentations is going to be the path that is filled with less content, because if you don't have your social aug, you're going to have to fight a few people, and that's just not as much fun for me personally. I try to be the stealthy guy, try not to trigger alarms, try not to piss off people, and try to use my social aug to silver tongue my way out of each fight as much as possible, because I just imagine that that's how Adam would do it. That's how he would go. He has this appearance, he likes to do that. I also try to go as non-lethal as possible, but that is actually exactly opposing to what I think. First, I think Adam is a badass and he would be killing straight out. Second, although he always talks about morale and stuff, I actually prefer taking out people in games, the enemies basically, but unfortunately this game kind of punishes you for that. You actually get more experience for being a merciful soul, so oftentimes I will do that simply because I'm just greedy for XP. But it's still not as bad as, for example, in games like Dishonored, where you're essentially an assassin, but the game punishes you hardcore for killing, where you get the different ending, the bad ending if you've been killing people, and the good ending if you haven't. Basically, they force you to be a pussy. Here, that's not the case. You can kill a lot of people, and that's not gonna do anything negative for it. It's still, it's still gonna be cool. And actually, there's something else. The person who starts the riot, you have a chance to talk with him several times before the riot, and I maybe in my next playthrough I'll actually kill him in advance and see what happens then, because I'm really curious about it. That's something interesting to look forward to. In any case, yeah, all in all, in conclusion, I thought that this was a pretty nice DLC. I personally did enjoy it, and I recommend it to people. It is not very cheap at $12, but considering that you have at least 6 hours of content in there, the first time for sure where you don't know where what is, it's gonna take you a bit longer, especially if you're a bit rusty like I was. And of course, the guys who have the digital deluxe edition or a season pass, they will get it for free. So for them it's mandatory to play this in any case. Alright, thanks for watching and listening to my ramble, and I hope to see you on the next video.